So E3 is just around the corner, but as it turns out, we've already been given a huge news update from the Pokémon company that announced Pokémon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee Edition, so the rumours were true, plus Pokémon Quest and also the mention of a new core series Pokémon title in 2019. But in this video I'm gonna be focusing on the former, the new Pokémon Switch game that seems to be a remake of Pokémon Yellow with some Pokémon Go integration thrown in there as well. A very controversial trailer indeed, as it seemed to split the Pokémon fanbase in two, as some people love the idea, while others are extremely disappointed. So is this game a good idea, or have Game Freak made a massive mistake? Only time will tell, of course, but I for one have some mixed feelings. Nevertheless, let's bust out the old cranium and do what I do best. Judge Nintendo. Let's go, if you'll pardon the pun. Okay, so I think it's safe to say that we were all expecting a core series Pokemon game when hearing that there would be a new Pokemon game for the Switch, either Generation 8 or a remake of Generation 4, and it kinda debunks my theory for Smash that the new Pokemon rep would be a Pokemon that we haven't seen before, but that's another discussion. Let's talk about the pros and cons of this new Pokemon game, which arguably is still a core Pokemon game, but isn't exactly what we were expecting before the leaks got out, and man, people were very upset, both about the fan service given to Generation 1 again and the Pokemon Go integration, myself included, but now that I've seen the game trailer, while still having my doubts, I'm kinda looking forward to it actually. Arguably the Pokemon company is clearly still desperate to milk both Pokemon Go and the original 151 Pokemon, and I think that their strategy of combining these two things stems from the fact that both Pokemon Go and Pokemon Red and Blue were their biggest hits. They want to create the synergy between these two things because they want to recreate their success. However, while the Switch is very popular, not everyone has one like they do with a phone, and a large part of Pokemon Go's demographic was people who used to be Pokemon fans or used to be gamers, which is why they only started off with the first 151 Pokemon. However, most of these people don't have a Switch, and I doubt that they would buy one just for this new Pokemon game. On top of that, longtime fans of the series are getting pretty sick at this point of seeing just the original 151 Pokemon, and some have even been slowly dropping out of the Pokemon community. So has Game Freak lost part of its demographic by trying to appeal to a new one? Well, maybe. Personally, I feel that longtime fans of the series are more likely to buy any Pokemon game, even if it's not the one they hoped for, while fans of the first generation aren't really going to pick up a new Pokemon game, as a lot of them feel that the series has lost its way and that most of the new Pokemon designs suck. But I'm not going to get into that minefield of an argument today because I value my life and don't want to be killed over a YouTube video. All I'm going to say is that every generation has stupid designs. Especially Gen 7. Oh, what? I didn't say anything. So it's understandable yet infuriating why the Pokemon company is so fixated on Generation 1. After all, despite how popular Pokemon is as a whole, nothing really came close to Generation 1 in terms of success, and despite how overrated Generation 1 really is, and how unbalanced those first few games were, they're always gonna be the most iconic Pokemon designs to the rest of the world. Although the least the game can do is update those evolution chains so that Zubat is actually worth catching and I feel less annoyed when I'm surrounded by them in those good old Generation 1 caves. Although it seems as though wild encounters are being changed as well, which I'll cover later. Point is, while I do like Generation 1 how it is, the additions that were added to it made it much better in my opinion. We don't want another situation where psychic types rule the world. But hey, who knows. Right now it seems the game is targeting a newer audience, and when everything's said and done, most of the Pokemon fanbase will buy the game anyway, because we're easy. I myself have bought just about every core Pokemon game other than Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because at that point I thought they were taking the piss, and I was told that those games aren't really worth it. Maybe I'm just getting too old for this shit after all. Either way, it's hard to argue that the Pokemon company has done a good job of securing people's hopes by announcing yet another Pokemon game coming in 2019. Probably fully aware that Pokemon Let's Go wouldn't be for everyone, and still wanting to move the core Pokemon games along for the fanbase. It's true that we still have to wait another year for this new game, but it's the kind of appeasement that I can get behind, as the Pokemon company is now catering towards both sides of its fanbase. Don't want Pokemon Let's Go? Well, we got a new game in the works. Don't like where the core games are heading? Well, bam! We've remade Gen 1 again. I got you, fam. Makes it seem as if Pokemon Let's Go is more of an experiment than it is a staple of the core series, so we shouldn't assume that these changes are gonna be in the other new titles as well. Like I said, it's more like an experiment in my eyes. They'll likely test out what changes work out in these games and what changes don't so that they can keep that in mind when developing the core series games. We can already see that they want to try bringing back the ability to walk with your Pokemon, and they want to see how we all take to the 2-player mode as well as the Pokemon Go integration. Speaking of Pokemon Go integration, I was among the masses that was worried about how this would be integrated, but after watching the trailer I was fine with what they decided upon. I'm okay with them changing how we catch Pokemon, and I'm glad that they didn't change the Pokemon trainer battles at least, because that would have definitely turned me off. It's true that they're still trying to milk the success of Pokemon Go like I said earlier, but I don't think it will affect the game's overall enjoyability, and hopefully it won't dampen the experience of the game if we choose not to use Pokemon Go alongside it. That would really suck. Also, since it's a Pokemon Yellow remake, you have to ponder whether the game's gonna include characters from the anime, like the old Pokemon Yellow version did, which introduced Jessie and James. Not likely, but who's to say we won't see a few cameos? After all, Pokemon Yellow took some inspirations from the anime and changed its formula so that the player could acquire all 3 starters as well as Pikachu. Just like Ash. I doubt it'll do much to acknowledge the anime, but it's fun to think about. Before I reach my overall conclusion, I'll just quickly touch upon the fact that random encounters are no longer random. We've got some earthbound shit going on here, as it seems as though you can now interact with a Pokemon just by touching it. This is another mechanic I'm worried about. Part of the fun in Pokemon games was seeing what Pokemon you ran into when you had a random encounter, especially if you were searching hard for a specific Pokemon or you found a shiny. It makes you question how shinies would work in this new overworld form. Will they even be implemented at all since it's a Pokemon Yellow remake? Because I can imagine that people will be very upset if shinies aren't in the game, especially if they're treating it like a core series Pokemon title. So yeah, other than a few anxieties about the game as well as the whole Gen 1 only thing, I'm fairly looking forward to picking up a copy of this game, but I'm honestly looking forward to next year's game even more. It'll be interesting to see how they decide to take the series further after gaining data from this game's perception. I'm still not totally sure if this is a core series game or some sort of experimental spin-off, seems like a bit of both to me, but I'm gonna do my best to avoid that debate as it doesn't really change anything and it still kinda is what it is. But just to wrap things up, in summary I'm looking forward to what the game has to offer, but I'm still kinda worried about a few of the mechanics. I loved the trailer and how it built up towards the end, and I like how the game looks, but I'm just hoping there's something a little more there as it still seems quite simplistic. I like the original Pokemon Yellow, so hopefully I'll like this game too, and maybe so will you. But if not, then we've always got next year to look forward to. Thanks everyone, this has been NintenDan, and tell me, what are your thoughts on the next Pokemon game? Leave a comment below, and I mean, while you're down there, you might as well press those like and subscribe buttons. Planning another Pokemon discussion soon, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Gonna be focusing on the anime this time. In the meantime, I'll be desperately waiting for E3 to arrive. I've got my own paramedic on standby, waiting for the special day. See you later.